Are you tired of cutting calories, running endless cardio, and watching the scale barely move? You're not alone. Most people think fat loss means eat less and move more, but the harder you cut, the slower your metabolism gets and the more muscle you lose. Here's the truth. The fastest way to shred fat isn't cutting harder. It's building muscle. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our weekly tips on building muscle, burning fat, and transforming your body the smart way. Muscle is your body's furnace. The more you have, the more calories you burn 24/7, even while you sleep. So if you've been stuck chasing fat loss, this video is going to flip everything you thought you knew upside down and finally show you how to burn fat by focusing on muscle. I'm not talking about just wanting to lean out a little. I mean the endless cycle of strict dieting, cutting more calories, adding more cardio, stepping on the scale every morning, only to feel like nothing ever really changes. You lose a few pounds, maybe the number on the scale moves a little, but then the energy crashes. The workouts feel harder. Your body feels weaker, smaller, not stronger. And the second you loosen up, the weight just comes right back. It's frustrating, right? You start to feel like maybe fat loss just isn't in the cards for you. Maybe you're not disciplined enough. Maybe your metabolism is broken. Maybe this is just your body now. I've been there, standing in front of the mirror, pulling at the stubborn belly fat, wondering why all the sacrifice, all the cutting, all the restriction doesn't seem to give me the body I thought it would. And here's the truth, it's not your fault. The reason you feel stuck is because you've been chasing the wrong thing. You've been told over and over that the path to a better body is to eat less, do more cardio, and just keep cutting fat. But what if I told you that chasing fat loss directly is the exact thing holding you back? What if the real key wasn't cutting at all, but building? See, when you shift your focus from cutting fat to building muscle, everything changes. You stop working against your body and start working with it. Instead of shrinking, you start growing stronger. Instead of slowing your metabolism, you fire it up. Instead of fighting for every pound lost, the fat starts to melt away almost as a side effect. That's the secret no one tells you. You don't need to be smaller, you need to be stronger. And in this video, I'm going to show you why focusing on building muscle, not cutting fat, is the most powerful shift you can make for your body, your confidence, and your long-term results. The problem with always cutting now. Let's get real about why this endless cutting cycle doesn't work. Because here's what most people don't realize. Your body is smart. Way smarter than any diet plan app or calculator. When you keep slashing calories lower and lower at first, yeah, you lose some weight. But your body notices the drop. It thinks, we're in trouble, we're starving. I need to survive. So what does it do? It adapts. Your metabolism slows down to conserve energy. The calories that used to burn off easily now stick around. You feel tired, sluggish, less motivated to move. You burn fewer calories even while doing the exact same workouts. And here's the kicker. Your body starts breaking down muscle tissue just to keep you alive. Think about that. The very muscle that gives you strength, shape, and the ability to burn more fat is the first thing your body sacrifices when you're constantly cutting. So now you're weaker, your metabolism is slower, and fat loss becomes harder with every passing week. That's why people get stuck. That's why you've probably felt like you're running on a treadmill that never moves forward. You lose 5 pounds, but the second you eat normally again, your body rebounds and those pounds come right back, often with a little extra. And the cycle repeats. Cut harder, lose a little, crash harder, regain more. This is why dieting feels like punishment. Because it is. You're punishing your body for wanting energy. You're punishing yourself for being hungry. And the whole time, you're training your body to resist you. That's why most people end up spinning their wheels for years, always chasing the next quick fix, the next 30-day shred, the next fat-burning workout. And in the end, all they've done is dig themselves deeper into the hole. I know this cycle because I lived it. I've done the calorie cuts, the extreme cleanses, the long cardio sessions. I've felt the burnout, the frustration, the hopelessness. And if you're watching this right now, I'm guessing you have too. Here's the bottom line. Cutting alone doesn't give you the body you want. It gives you a smaller, weaker, more tired version of yourself. It strips away your energy, your muscle, and your confidence. And worst of all, it convinces you that you're failing, when in reality, it's the strategy that's failing you. If you want real change, lasting change, you can't keep living in that cut mindset. You gotta flip the script. And that's exactly where muscle comes in. The science behind metabolism, all right. Now let's break down what's really happening inside your body when it comes to fat, muscle, and metabolism. Think of your metabolism like the engine of a car. The bigger and more powerful the engine, the more fuel it burns, even when it's just idling at a stoplight. Your body works the same way. The more muscle you carry, the more calories you burn just living, breathing, and existing. Now here's where it gets interesting. A pound of fat doesn't really do anything. It just sits there like storage. 1 pound of fat might burn 2-3 calories a day at rest, basically nothing. But 1 pound of muscle? That same pound is metabolically active. It's hungry tissue. Studies show it burns anywhere from 6-10 calories a day at rest, and even more when you're moving around, training, or recovering. Doesn't sound like a huge difference, right? 2 calories versus 10 calories. But let's scale it up. Imagine adding 10 pounds of muscle to your frame. That's an extra 60 to 100 calories burned every single day, without doing a thing. Over a week, that's 700 calories. Over a month, that's nearly 3,000 calories. Over a year, more than 30,000 calories burned just because you built muscle. That's the equivalent of burning off almost 10 pounds of fat in a year without changing anything else. No extra cardio, no crash diets, just because your body is now a bigger engine. But it doesn't stop there. Muscle doesn't just burn calories at rest. It also increases something called EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Basically, after a tough lifting session, your body continues burning calories for hours, even while you're sitting at your desk, watching TV, or sleeping. Cardio can do this too, but lifting weights and building muscle multiplies the effect. Now let's put it into perspective. When you focus on cutting fat, you're actually shrinking your engine. You're losing muscle mass and lowering the horsepower of your metabolism. That's why fat loss gets harder over time. Your body has literally turned itself into a smaller, less efficient machine. But when you focus on building muscle, you do the opposite. You're upgrading your engine. You're giving your body more horsepower. You're teaching it to burn hotter, faster, and more efficiently. And when you combine that with the right nutrition, fat doesn't just come off, it melts off. So when people say muscle is the real fat burner, this is what they mean. It's not just a fitness slogan. It's biology. And the best part? Building muscle doesn't just change your metabolism, it changes how you look. Muscle is what gives your body shape, tone, and definition. It's the difference between looking skinny and looking fit. It's the difference between losing weight and actually transforming your body. This is why shifting your focus from fat loss to muscle gain is so powerful. It doesn't just help you burn more calories. It builds the foundation for a body that looks and feels strong for life. Why muscle is the real fat burner okay? So now that you understand how metabolism works, let's connect the dots and answer the big question. Why is muscle the ultimate fat burner? It comes down to this. Muscle is active, fat is passive. Fat just sits there, like storage boxes stacked up in your garage. They don't do anything except take up space. Muscle, on the other hand, is like a living furnace. It's constantly burning energy just to stay alive, and the more you have, the hotter that furnace runs. Here's the part most people don't realize. When you focus only on losing fat, you're trying to tear the boxes down. But when you focus on building muscle, you're installing a bigger and hotter furnace, one that burns those boxes down for you. That's why people who train for muscle look leaner even at a higher body weight. Have you ever seen someone who weighs more than you but looks way smaller and tighter? That's muscle. Muscle makes the frame compact, toned, and athletic, while fat just makes it soft. And here's something else. Muscle doesn't just burn fat at rest. It also makes every other activity more efficient at burning calories. Walking, running, climbing stairs, even sleeping. It's like upgrading from a 4-cylinder car to a V8 engine. Same drive, same distance, way more power. But the benefits aren't just physical. Building muscle makes the fat loss journey mentally easier. Because instead of focusing on what you can't eat or how much cardio you have to do, your focus shifts to progress. To getting stronger. To hitting new PRs in the gym, lifting heavier weights, doing more push-ups, or running faster than last week. You start celebrating wins instead of obsessing over restrictions. That's a huge shift. And here's where it gets really powerful. The fat loss that happens when you build muscle is sustainable. It doesn't vanish the second you stop dieting. Because you've built a body that burns fat by default. A body that works for you instead of against you. That's why people who focus on muscle gain end up staying leaner in the long run. They don't have to starve themselves. They don't have to live on a treadmill. They don't have to do endless 30-day cuts. They simply built the furnace, and now the furnace does the work. So let me put it plainly. If you're tired of fighting for fat loss, stop chasing it directly. Build muscle. Because muscle is the one thing that guarantees fat doesn't just leave, it stays gone. And once you experience that shift, once you see your body getting stronger, your metabolism revving higher, and the fat starting to peel away almost as a side effect, you'll wonder why you didn't do this years ago. Common mistakes when switching to muscle gains, though. Now you're probably thinking, all right, I get it. Muscle is the secret. Time to hit the weights and eat big, right? And you're right. But here's the problem. Most people jump into muscle building and make the same mistakes that kill their progress before it even starts. Let's talk about those. Mistake hash 1. Dirty bulking. A lot of people here build muscle and think it means eat everything in sight. Pizza, burgers, donuts, 5,000 calories a day because, hey, I'm bulking. Here's the truth. Yes, you need more calories to grow muscle, but quality matters. If you eat nothing but junk, you don't just build muscle, you build a ton of fat along with it. And that just puts you right back in the same place you started, frustrated, soft, and now even heavier. The fix. Aim for a slight calorie surplus, not a junk food free-for-all. Focus on lean proteins, whole carbs, and healthy fats. Think of food as fuel, not just filler. Mistake hash 2. Skipping cardio completely. Some people swing to the opposite extreme. They ditch cardio altogether because they've heard it kills gains. Here's the reality. Cardio doesn't kill muscle. In fact, the right kind of cardio, walking, cycling, zone 2 training, keeps your heart healthy, improves recovery, and helps you actually perform better in the gym. Plus, it helps keep fat gain under control during a muscle building phase. The fix. Don't eliminate cardio, just balance it. 2 or 3 sessions of low to moderate cardio a week is perfect. Enough to stay lean and healthy, but not so much that it eats into recovery. Mistake hash 3. Not training hard enough or smart enough. This is a big one. A lot of people say they're lifting weights, but really, they're just going through the motions. Same weight, same reps, no progression. Or worse, they spend hours chasing pump-style workouts from social media influencers with no structured plan. The fix. Focus on progressive overload. That means gradually increasing the weight, the reps, or the sets over time. Your body only grows muscle when you give it a reason to adapt. No challenge = no change. Mistake hash 4. Obsessing over the scale. When you switch to building muscle, the number on the scale might not drop the way you're used to. For some people, it even goes up. And that freaks them out. They panic, think they're getting fat, and run right back to cutting. The fix. Stop obsessing over the scale. Look at progress photos, strength gains, how your clothes fit, and how you feel. Remember, muscle is denser than fat. You might weigh the same, but look completely different. Leaner, tighter, and stronger. Mistake hash 5. Underestimating recovery. This one flies under the radar. People hit the gym hard, they eat more, but they never rest. No sleep, no recovery, no downtime. But guess what? Muscle doesn't grow in the gym. It grows when you rest. The fix: sleep at least 7-8 hours a night. Take rest days seriously. Manage stress. Your training and nutrition are the spark, but recovery is the gasoline. Without it, you won't build muscle. You'll just burn out. So if you're ready to shift gears into building muscle, avoid these traps. Don't dirty bulk. Don't abandon cardio. Train with progression, not ego. Stop living and dying by the scale. And for the love of progress, let your body recover. Because when you avoid these mistakes, muscle building stops being frustrating and starts being the most rewarding journey of your life. How to shift focus to muscle all right. Now that you know what not to do, let's talk about how to actually make this shift, from chasing fat loss to building muscle the right way. Think of this as your blueprint. Step 1. Prioritize resistance training. If you've been living on cardio machines, the treadmill, the elliptical, endless spin classes, it's time to flip that script. Muscle only grows when you challenge it, and that means lifting weights or using resistance. Focus on the big compound lifts: squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups, rows, and overhead press. These hit multiple muscles at once, giving you the most return on your effort. Aim for 3-5 strength workouts per week, depending on your schedule. Keep your form tight, and always look for ways to push yourself just a little harder over time. That's progressive overload, and it's the #1 driver of muscle growth. Remember, cardio makes you fit, but lifting makes you shaped. Step 2. Hit your protein target. If you want to build muscle, your body needs raw materials, and that means protein. Without it, your training is like trying to build a house with no bricks. A great rule of thumb: about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. Spread it across your meals. Eggs, chicken, beef, fish, protein powder, Greek yogurt, whatever works for you. Pair protein with carbs to fuel your workouts and recovery. Think rice, potatoes, oats, or fruit. This isn't about eating until you're stuffed. It's about eating smart so your muscles can grow and your body has energy. Step 3. Stop fearing the scale. Here's something that might shock you. When you start building muscle, the scale might go up. And that's not a bad thing. Muscle is denser than fat. A pound of muscle takes up less space than a pound of fat. That's why you might weigh the same, or even more, but look 10 pounds lighter. Instead of obsessing over the number, track your strength in the gym, your progress pictures, your energy levels, and how your clothes fit. Those are the real indicators of success, not just the digits on the scale. Step 4. Respect recovery. Building muscle isn't just about what happens in the gym, it's about what happens after. Muscles grow during rest, not during workouts. Sleep at least 7-8 hours a night. Take at least 1 or 2 rest days per week. Manage stress, because stress hormones like cortisol can eat away at both your muscle and your fat loss goals. Think of recovery as part of your training program, not an optional extra. Step 5. Shift your mindset. This might be the most important piece. For years, you've been trained to think smaller is better. Smaller meals, smaller portions, smaller body weight. But the truth is, smaller doesn't always mean better. Building muscle is about thinking bigger. Bigger strength, bigger confidence, bigger capacity for life. It's about fueling your body, not starving it. It's about creating a physique that looks good and feels good, strong, energetic, and sustainable. This is the mindset shift that keeps you consistent. Because instead of punishing your body with restrictions, you're now rewarding it with growth. The big picture. So here's your new focus. Lift heavy, lift consistently. Fuel your body with protein and smart calories. Stop obsessing over the scale. Recover like it matters. Adopt the growth mindset, stronger, not smaller. Do this, and not only will you build muscle, but you'll also unlock the lean, shredded look you've been chasing all along. Because when muscle grows, fat loss becomes automatic. Now I know what some of you might be thinking right now. Okay, building muscle sounds great, but I came here to lose fat. Isn't this just going to slow me down? And the answer is no dot. In fact, the exact opposite is true. Here's the secret. When you focus on building muscle, fat loss doesn't stop. It just happens in the background, almost automatically. Think of it like this. When you're obsessed with cutting fat, it's like trying to chop down a tree with a dull axe. You swing harder and harder, but it takes forever and you wear yourself out. When you build muscle first, you sharpen the blade. Suddenly, every swing is more powerful. Fat loss isn't harder, it's easier. How muscle makes fat loss automatic? Higher metabolism. More muscle means your body burns more calories 24/7, even when you're sitting or sleeping. Better insulin sensitivity. Muscle acts like a sponge for carbs, pulling them into the muscle for energy instead of storing them as fat. Improved hormones. Building muscle lowers stress hormones like cortisol and boosts hormones like testosterone and growth hormone that make fat loss easier. Higher training intensity. With more strength and endurance, every workout burns more calories and creates a bigger afterburn effect. So instead of fighting for every single pound, you create a body that naturally leans out. And let's be real, the look most people are after when they say, "I want to lose fat," isn't really just about fat loss. It's about muscle definition. It's about shape. It's about looking fit, not just smaller. If you lose weight without building muscle, you might look skinny, but you won't look lean. If you build muscle, the fat comes off and reveals tone, definition, and strength. That's what actually makes you look shredded. And I want to make this clear because this channel is called Shred Fat. Shredding fat is still the mission, but we're not doing it the old way. We're not chasing calories, cutting harder, or starving ourselves into misery. We're shredding fat by upgrading the machine, by building muscle, by creating a body that burns fat without needing punishment. That's how you win long-term. That's how you keep the fat off. So yes, fat loss will absolutely still happen. But now, instead of being the main grind, it becomes the side effect of doing the right things. Time frame and amp. Expectations. Here's the part nobody wants to hear, but everybody needs to hear. Building muscle and transforming your body takes time. We live in a world of 30-day shred challenges, 6-week transformations, and promises of losing 20 pounds by next month. And while some quick changes can happen, especially in the beginning, the truth is real, lasting results don't happen overnight. The first 4 weeks, foundation. Phase in your first month of focusing on muscle. You might not see huge changes in the mirror. And that's okay. What's happening inside your body is just as important. Your nervous system is learning new movements. Your muscles are adapting to the stress of lifting. You're building the habits, getting consistent with training, nutrition, and recovery. Some people notice tighter clothes or more energy in this phase, but don't expect shredded abs yet. Think of it as laying the bricks for the house. Weeks 5-12, visible changes start appearing. By 8-12 weeks, things start to get exciting. Strength increases are noticeable. You're lifting heavier weights, doing more reps, or moving with more confidence. Muscles start to feel firmer and more defined. Your metabolism is firing higher, and you may notice your body shape beginning to shift, even if the scale hasn't moved much. This is where a lot of people start hearing comments like, "Hey, have you been working out? You look different." 3-6 months, the transformation window. Now we're talking real visual payoff. Muscle growth is visible. Your arms, shoulders, or legs have more shape. Fat loss starts showing without you obsessing over it, especially around stubborn areas like the belly. Workouts feel stronger, energy is higher, and recovery improves. By this point, you've built momentum and the results compound. The habits you set early on become automatic, and your body is now a calorie-burning machine. 1 year and beyond, the lifestyle shift, here's where the magic happens. If you stick with building muscle for a year, you won't just look different, you'll be different. Your physique will have transformed, leaner, stronger, more athletic. Fat won't just be gone, it'll stay gone because your body is built to keep it off. You'll have the confidence that comes from not just dieting for a season, but building a body for life. Why this matters: most people quit too early. They expect dramatic fat loss in a few weeks, and when it doesn't happen, they give up and jump back into crash diets. But the people who stick it out, who give their body 3 months, 6 months, a year, those are the people who win. So here's the expectation: don't look for overnight miracles. Look for steady progress. Look for strength increases, better energy, improved mood, and subtle changes in how you look and feel. Then trust the process. Because if you stay the course, the visible transformation will come, and it'll be the kind that lasts. Myth busting. Section now. Before we wrap this up, let's bust some of the biggest myths that keep people stuck in the fat loss trap. Because if you don't clear these out of your head, they'll pull you back into old habits. Myth hash 1. More cardio equals sign, more fat loss. This is one of the biggest lies in fitness. People think if they just add more miles on the treadmill, the fat will melt away. But what really happens? You burn a few hundred calories, your body adapts, and soon you're doing double the cardio for half the results. Not to mention, too much cardio eats into recovery and can even break down muscle. Truth, cardio is a tool, not the solution. Strength training builds the body, cardio supports the engine. Balance is key. Myth hash 2. Women shouldn't lift heavy or they'll get bulky. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this one. The idea that women will suddenly look like bodybuilders if they pick up a barbell is just flat out wrong. Truth, women don't have the testosterone levels to bulk up like men. What lifting actually does is create tone, shape, and definition. If you want that lean, athletic look, lifting heavy is the fastest way there. Myth hash 3. Harder calorie cuts equals sign faster results. It's tempting to think, if a 500 calorie deficit works, then a 1000 calorie deficit must work twice as fast. But it doesn't. It just wrecks your metabolism, drains your energy, and sets you up for rebound weight gain. Truth, extreme deficits backfire. Smart nutrition, fueled by enough protein and strength training, delivers results you can actually keep. Myth hash 4. Muscle weighs more than fat. This one confuses people. Technically, a pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat. A pound is a pound. But here's the difference. Muscle is denser. A pound of muscle takes up less space than a pound of fat. That's why you can look 10 pounds lighter even if the scale doesn't move. Truth, the mirror and the fit of your clothes are better indicators of progress than the scale. Results you can expect. So what happens when you flip the switch, when you stop cutting and start building muscle? Here's what you can expect. Short-term results, weeks to months. More energy. Instead of feeling drained from dieting, you'll feel fueled for workouts and life. Strength gains. Lifting heavier weights, doing more reps, performing exercises you never thought possible. Subtle changes in body shape. Shoulders a little rounder, arms a little tighter, legs a little stronger. Long-term results, months to years. A leaner, more athletic look. Not just smaller, but shaped, toned, and confident. Fat loss that sticks. No more yo-yo dieting, no more rebounding, no more starting over every January. A faster metabolism that makes maintaining your results easier than you thought possible. A mindset shift. Instead of obsessing over losing, you focus on winning. Strength, confidence, growth. And that's the real payoff. Because muscle doesn't just transform your body, it transforms your life. You stop living in a cycle of deprivation and start living in a cycle of progress. All right, let's bring it all together. Here are the exact steps to shift from chasing fat loss to building muscle. Lift heavy, lift consistently. Focus on the big compound movements and progressive overload. Eat protein with every meal. Aim for about 1 gram per pound of body weight. Fuel, don't starve. Slight calorie surplus or maintenance, not endless cutting. Respect recovery. Sleep 7-8 hours, take rest days, and manage stress. Track progress beyond the scale. Look at strength, energy, photos, and how your clothes fit. Think growth, not shrinkage. Your goal isn't to get smaller. It's to get stronger, fitter, leaner, and healthier. If you follow these steps, you'll not only build muscle, but you'll also shred fat in a way that's flipped the script. Start building muscle. Fuel your body. Get stronger. Natural, sustainable, and permanent. So here's my challenge to you. Stop cutting. Stop starving. Stop chasing smaller. And watch how the fat starts to melt away without you obsessing over it. If this message hits home for you, if you're tired of wasting energy on diets that don't work, then hit that subscribe button right now. Because this channel isn't about quick fixes. It's about real strategies that transform your body and your life. Quick question. Do you find it harder to cut fat or build muscle? Drop your answer below, I'd love to know. Now, check out the next video or playlist being recommended on your screen. All you have to do to open it up is click on it. Thank you for watching.